I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on the Spotlight Network, we're stepping into a dark, thrilling world where redemption and damnation collide. We're talking with the terrific author. His name is Demetre Jasmin, and he takes us on a harrowing journey with his amazing book. It is called The Divine Irony, Book One, Pandora. It is a gripping blend of mythology, morality, and survival. If you love Dante's Inferno, anime, or RPG-inspired storytelling, this is one book and one interview you won't want to miss. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put him in the spotlight today, and we ask viewers like you to support authors like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his amazing book. The links are below the interview. Demetre, great to see you here today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Logan.
Great to have you on the show. You've got a unique background. You work as a therapist. Did that influence your storytelling at all?
Actually, a little bit. So back when I was still like learning psychology and in my younger days, because I specialized with kids, I always had like this weird mindset from watching Dante's Inferno one time that one of my coping strategies from going through like harder months, like, okay, what gate of hell am I going through? What is the thing that I need to learn from this lesson to get out? Like sometimes it'll be learning how to just be diligent to get over like a lazy period, or learning how to be a little bit more charitable and grateful for what I do have. And as I started going through those motions, like the book started naturally writing itself. And actually the book's kind of a manifestation of things that I went through in my childhood. And I just kind of, exploded, because most good authors, they write about what they know instead of just trying to make something out of thin air.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you've had other influences as well. Anime is a big influence, probably growing up. You watched a lot of it, read a lot of it. Role-playing games, Dante's Inferno, which you already mentioned. They helped shape this world, correct?
Yeah, a lot of it. For anime, one of my biggest influences is Nejima by Ken Akamastu. Just like how he blended like different things like science and magic together. It was like something that I hope that I can show you guys more of in following books. And what else? Rick Riordan's Percy Jackson series, that literally carried me growing up. That was like one of my biggest escapes from reality. And Dante's Inferno kind of just brought it all together, because it was like when I was making mythology, I wanted something that, how can I put it, I could relate to, and something that I could understand. And growing up Catholic, it was just like, once I saw it, it was just like boom, boom, boom. And it just kind of just built this one little world, and it just kind of expanded into basically to this.
Yep. Yep. It's a great book. It's a beautiful cover. On the cover are Trent and Alex, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell the folks at home a little bit about their story.
So the way Trent and Alex are made, they're basically like, think of your stereotypical characters in like most African American fiction, where they're either doing something bad, where, what is it called? I'm going to quote a rapper, but it's either trap or you go to the league, where you're either going to sell drugs and be a product of your environment, or you're going to try to break out of it and do like one of the typical paths, rap, play sports, and nowadays it's streaming. And I wanted to be like, how about you guys go to college? How about you guys try to find a bigger story, a bigger redemption for you guys than what's in your current environment? And you can see both of them trying to fight for trying to go back to that environment. And as the story progresses, you start to realize that they don't need to be there anymore. They can become something greater. And especially and sorry if I'm bringing a lot of book two into it, but I'm just because I'm like currently writing it. But you see that like as they go through that college, you're like, wait, I have this talent, or I could be more like this. I could see myself in something greater than I thought I could be, instead of just being like within these simple lanes.
Yep. They live in a world of possibilities as opposed to defined paths that are either, poor and drug dealing, or, superstar. Most of us live in the middle there. We don't become superstars, and hopefully we're not poor drug dealers.
Right.
It's that kind of thing. So this is part of the series. Tell us a little bit how you envision the series, how many books and so forth.
So as of right now in my head, the book storyboarded, and I have about 9, starting where the first three starts in a school, but then it goes beyond that in books 4 through 9.
Right.
And it's gonna pivot. The characters are gonna change. The dynamics are gonna change. Where I won't say without revealing too much. I'll say it won't end with Trent and Alex being your main characters.
Hmm.
It's actually gonna take a huge role, and that's where the irony part of the divine irony is gonna start to fill in.
Have you envisioned Divine Irony as a series of movies or perhaps a TV series?
Actually, that's one of my biggest goals. Since I would say 20, I always wanted to like figure out how to get into like film. Like I have friends who are cameramen, directors, and
Mhm.
I would love to trans adapt it because my mind when I like write the story, I'm seeing it as like a movie. I'm seeing it as like a show, and I could see it like I feel like it will resonate with a wider audience through like more visual media.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it would work well on the big screen or the small screen. And I think it has compelling characters and really interesting philosophical background as well within this book and this series of books. In fact, you actually kind of redefine the classic concepts of heaven, hell, and purgatory in your book. Tell us a little bit about how they're viewed in your book.
So in my book, heaven and hell are kind of just one giant area called show
Mhm.
because it's just divided. And I'll give you a little hint, but basically it starts with a rebellion from Leviathan, the demon lord of envy, where he doesn't like just being confined into a space,
Mhm.
and he wants to actually like just break out. He wants to become he wants to be greater than he is. Like he wants to see the world, and it's actually Lucifer that comes down. It's like, no, you can't do that. We have to stay by the divine order.
Mhm.
And it's from Leviathan's first rebellion that shows Lucifer that maybe we aren't just made to be what we're just determined to be. I like playing with free will determinism, especially like with this book, because it's like, how can I put it? It's like this hidden theme in it where everyone just has this set path that there should be on. Or like, you know how it was like you're either gonna go to heaven or hell? It's like, well, in this book, everyone goes to hell. You start in
Mhm.
hell because you have to clean yourself off before you can go to heaven and fully like I don't say reincarnate, but like enter it. And
Right.
heaven's not just something that you go in just from being good on earth. You have to go through your trials no matter who you are or what you are or where you came from in order to reach that place of life. And it's just
And
like we're living.
And in many ways, that's real life. I mean, life is hard. You suffer illnesses, heartbreak, loss. It's not certainly, it can be heaven here on earth. It can be hell here on earth, depending on what your breaks are in life, no doubt. I thought an interesting part of the story, of course, is the placement test. Tell us about that aspect of the book.
So with book one, it's actually I was talking to my friend about this earlier. It's a giant prologue where the placement test is just to show you everyone's falling into something. No one there is ever going to make it out alive.
Mhm.
Even if you make it to the end, it's still not the end.
Yeah.
And with the placement test, what I want to do is just show that no matter where they are, especially in terms of Trent and Alex, they're going to fall. It's the first book's supposed to be a tragedy where everyone's susceptible to their own sin in one way or another. Whereas, yeah, Alex could make it through just because, Trent knows the area because of stories he's been told. But even Trent falls. And when Alex goes without Trent, it's like, you're in hell. This
Mhm.
isn't like a test where you can just cheat. Like, at some point, you're going to have to give it up. And
Yeah.
it's just like with life, where as we go through it, eventually there's something that we're going to fall on our face. There's going to be that moment where we can't cover up anything. We have to just face the music.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the metaphor I went through with this first seven gates, where everyone's going to die. It doesn't mean it's the end, but you have to
Yeah.
because it's a placement test. I don't need you to be 100%. If you were 100%, you wouldn't be here. You're here for a reason.
Exactly, exactly. Very, very intriguing, very, very philosophical, very deep. I love it. If you could attend the school in hell, what class would you take?
Um, I think about this all the time. Unfortunately, I think mine would be sloth. I don't ask me why. I just have like you ever had those periods where it's like your body just nope, I'm done. I'm burnt.
Mhm.
I'm gonna sit here for a long period of time.
Yep.
That's like one of my worst habits, but Because once I'm on, I'm like, I could go down, even the world could stop me.
Yeah,
But once I hit that point, it's over.
exactly. So you would go to sloth class. Okay, that sounds cool. What were some of the other classes, just so the folks at home can have an idea of what they're all about?
So the other classes are there's envy, where you're literally going to be facing just reflections of yourself. And you're going to see all this in book two. You're
Right.
going to have, what else was there? Envy, greed, where
Lust.
greed is actually really fun. So it's take what you can carry, but the less you have, the harder it is to go.
Hmm.
But there's going to be a trick to that, because the trick with greed is you never have to carry it all alone. With gluttony, actually, I'm working on gluttony right now. And what I'm going to do is think of Hell's Kitchen,
Mhm.
but instead of you trying to make a dish that chef is going to like to serve, you're going to make something that's going to please the glutton.
Hmm.
And there's a really cool twist on how do you please a glutton.
Okay.
What else? You have lust, where it's not so much about sex, it's just more about being able to withstand yourself from your truest desires.
Hmm.
And that's actually going to be there's going to be a nice big plot point in book two with that. What else? Blood and greed,
Well,
sloth.
there's lust, greed, envy, avarice. They're all based on the seven deadly sins, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wrath is literally just, it's kind of like envy, but a lot more psychological, where it's not so much about you having to face yourself, but more learning more about forgiveness and patience.
Hmm.
Because you're always going to be growing, you're always going to be evolving. You could keep fighting that same version of yourself every day, but at the end of the day, you're going to have to just make peace with that person in front of you.
Yeah.
What else is there? Why? As much as I write this book, I should have these known by heart by now.
It's tough. It's tough to remember. Sometimes I'll write a book and I put that in there. That's in there. You forget sometimes. But the book is amazing. It's very inventive. It's very imaginative. It is called The Divine Irony, Book One, Pandora. It is part of a series. More books are coming, fortunately, because you will love this one. Book one is a gripping blend of mythology, morality, and survival. If you love Dante's Inferno, anime, and role-playing games, well, you will love this book. You won't want to miss out for sure. Demetre, thank you so much for joining me here today on Spotlight.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.